What's up? I'm Jacob here at Macomb Powersports, and today we're going to test ride and review the Kawasaki Z400. Let me tell you a little about it real quick. This is not stock, the cage is not stock, and the windscreen also not stock. Other than that, it is stock, but this is a pretty beginner-friendly bike as far as customizing, modifying, things like that. You can do some easy, inexpensive modifications like the ones that have been done to this bike. Let's get right into it. Shout out to the guys over at Macomb Powersports for letting me do this video. This video is sponsored by them, but all of these reviews are unbiased. I'm gonna tell you straight up whether I like the bike or not, pros and cons, who this bike is for. What you see here, we've got aftermarket exhaust, aftermarket cage on it, and an aftermarket windscreen. All right. Initial impression, it's pretty low, actually. The bike is pretty low. Seating is pretty low, so for your shorter riders out there, a little bit more upright, but still pretty sporty. Where your legs are, you're gonna be pretty much right underneath you with your feet. It's gonna put you a little bit more forward. Overall, not too bad, but definitely a little bit more sporty position. Tank, wide like a sport bike. Let it warm up here for a second. So if I say anything incorrect while riding, I will correct it on the screen. So this is a 400cc motorcycle. Let's get a feel for it at slow speeds in this parking lot. I don't know if I'm gonna like the cage, just because it's kind of looks like it might be in the way of the toes a little bit there. Take off a little bit. It's just a 400, so not a ton of power, but so pretty tight wheelbase, but it's pretty well balanced. Really nimble bike right off rip. Not a huge fan of the cage. My toes are hitting, but cage is not stock on the bike, so just ignore that. So it's a little bit windy today, so hopefully the mic dead cat takes a lot of that wind away. So this is a 6-speed transmission, and as you can maybe see on the display here, shows right in the middle what gear you're in. It's got your speed, odometer, total miles, gas, things like that, all your fun stuff. Very user-friendly display. First thing I always review is the shifting, so we've shifted up. Downshift feels good. It's not super clunky like I would like, but it's still pretty smooth and you can feel it. It's a pretty far click. It's actually perfectly fine. Feels good. Shifting down feels good. Shifting up feels great. Pretty easy to ride. I kind of want to test out the power a little bit because it is only a 400. It sounds good with this exhaust though, but it'll be a good test to see if this bike is good for slow stop and go traffic like we have here on Hall Road. All right, let's get a little fake 0 to 60. So, I mean, it doesn't have a ton of power, but honestly, that 400, it's plenty for most, especially if you're a beginner. You know, in my opinion, sweet spot for a beginner is about 300 cc's. There's plenty of bikes around there. It seems like a lot of the newer bikes are going 400 and up. 400's nice because usually you get dual cylinder, whereas a lot of the smaller displacement bikes are single cylinder, which isn't great for the freeway, which this bike probably isn't amazing on the freeway. You probably don't want to do a ton of freeway riding with it, only because it's so light. You're not going to be super stable. You're going to get a lot of that wind because this windscreen is really small. In stock, it doesn't even have the windscreen, but for your around town cruising, stop and go, I don't love the feeling of the clutch. It does feel very long, like the zone to get into it is a little bit lengthy, but all stuff that you would get used to. So not like a determining factor, but just gotta nitpick everything. This dude likes it. Stop and go is not bad. It feels like my 400, it feels like my Ninja, and it's honestly not bad. I don't like the Ninja either, at least the 400, for the way it shifts. I just feel like the shifting is too much room for error. You have to be very gentle and very perfect on your shifts. It definitely feels a little bit smaller, so taller riders, keep that in mind. I'm gonna go into this little neighborhood here and do some slow turns and whatnot. Got some bumps. Love this road. So Like most sportier bikes, this is going to have a very stiff suspension, so not the greatest for dirt roads, not the greatest for these bumpy roads. Let's drop her down a little bit. And I feel like these sport bikes, especially these smaller ones, they just love being in higher RPMs. They're not a big fan of these low gears. They want fast. They perform better when the RPMs are up higher. For downtown, this would be a fun bike. I mean, aside from the fact that I don't personally love the shifting, or the clutch at the very least. I mean, it's something you would get used to. It's just comparing it to bikes that I really like. The shifting, not a huge fan. Very well balanced bike, even at slow speeds. The accelerating feels very twitchy at low speeds. It feels good in terms of the weight of the bike, the balance of the bike. That looks super sick, but they should probably rake their leaves. It feels good, very smooth. I like the position. Like I said, it is a little bit smaller bike. I think I'd like it a little bit more if it didn't have the cage on it. Let's get back on this road here. As I say usually in my videos, it's not too much power, but any amount of power can kill you. You always have to respect the machine. This does have enough power to get you out of sticky situations. If you're going faster on the freeway, things like that, your acceleration is going to be limited. I feel comfortable in the 60s on it. Let's talk about who this bike is for. I would say this bike would be for your beginner that, you know, you maybe not a super tall rider, but somebody that wants a little bit of speed, but something that is not too much to handle, something that's not going to kill you if you don't know what you're doing. This particular bike is going to be much more manageable for a beginner. Also keep you out of trouble, because even though you can go those fast speeds, it's not likely that this is the bike you are running from the cops on, which you should never do. I would never recommend that. Holy f***. Speaking of this cage, it definitely just kept me from being able to hit the brakes fast to stop for that truck. Almost rear-ended that guy. I don't like this cage at all. I don't like to ride with my toe on the brake the entire time, so finding it for me is a big deal. And when you have this big clunky cage, it's a lot harder to find it. This cage on this particular model is a no for me. Oh, I'm a nice guy. I didn't know what that guy was doing. Say, if you are a more experienced rider and you have a need for speed, probably not your guy here. It will surprise you though. It does have a little get up and go. Slow roll. This would be a good little downtown bike. It excels in the 35 to 40 mile an hour range. So if that's your commute to work, if you're looking to ride on the freeway a ton and you're commuting on the freeway a lot, this probably is not the bike for you. The RPM is pretty high and running this engine pretty high if you're going to be going 70 miles an hour regularly. This thing is fun. It's quick, it's nimble, it's going to be easy to play around with. Tricks and stuff, this would probably be a good entry-level bike for that. The geometry feels really good, really well balanced, but nimble, which is hard to get because usually you get one or the other. It's real light, feels good. Yeah, so that's my review of the Kawasaki Z400. Shout out again to Macomb Powersports for letting me rip this one. And yeah, if you want to see more videos like this, subscribe, check out some of my other video reviews. If you have a bike that you would like me to review, leave a comment below. Nonetheless, this thing was a ton of fun. And yeah, this one's not going to break the bank. So for you beginners out there looking for a bike, looking for something fun, something easy to ride, this bike's going to be great.